In today's headlines, for the first time in Pakistan's history, a leader has been ousted by a vote of no confidence. Embattled Prime Minister Imran Khan will no longer hold office after the country's opposition secured a narrow majority to vote him down. The dramatic vote took place after more than 13 hours of delays and following the resignation of the Speaker of the lower house of Parliament. For days now, Khan has defiantly refused to resign and encouraged his supporters to take to the streets in protest. The French presidential election could turn into an unexpected nail-biter as far-right candidate Marine Le Pen pulls closer to the incumbent, Emmanuel Macron. A Le Pen victory would represent a major departure from Macron's moderate leadership in Europe and on the global stage. French citizens living abroad were the first to cast their vote today. On Sunday, voters in France will pick from a crowded field of 12 candidates. The top two candidates will qualify for the second and final round on April 24th. Shanghai officials say they will ease restrictions for communities if they report no positive COVID-19 cases for 2 weeks. That's as overall cases in the city of 26 million people hit a record high of more than 23,000 today. Much of Shanghai has been under strict COVID lockdown since late March. Residents there continue to raise concerns about shortages of food and other necessities. 1 week after Amazon workers on Staten Island formed the company's first union, the online retail giant says the vote should be thrown out. Amazon alleges the National Labor Relations Board, that's the independent agency responsible for conducting union elections in the private sector, did not act impartially. In an appeal filed Friday, the company claims workers were coerced into supporting unionization. A text message sent by Donald Trump Jr. to then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows discussed options to overturn the 2020 presidential election before the race was even called. That's what CNN and the New York Times are reporting. The president's son reportedly told Meadows, quote, "We have operational control to ensure the election would be called for his father, then President Donald Trump." Days later, Joe Biden was declared the winner of the election. And one small step for space tourism. For the first time, private citizens boarded the International Space Station this morning. The crew, including a former NASA astronaut and 3 businessmen, will stay in space for more than a week. The 3 non-astronauts reportedly forked over a whopping $55 million each for the adventure. And still to come on PBS News Weekend, my conversation with record-setting NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei, and a look at how pollution is affecting some communities of color.
This is PBS News Weekend from WETA Studios in Washington, home of the PBS NewsHour, weeknights on PBS.